Hi there, I'm Bonnie McCaffrey, and thank you so much for coming back for another VidCast this month. I'm here with Lisa Walton, who is the final recipient of the Jewel Pearce Patterson Scholarship, and I was lucky enough to be one of the Jewelies, as we call ourselves. I got to go to Innsbruck, Austria, and Lisa, you came from Australia to go to the quilt show here in Houston. And now you have an exhibit, so tell me what is involved with that, the scholarship and then your exhibit.
Okay. The exhibit is a combination of my students' work based on what I learnt in Houston last year. I was fortunate enough to come and do lots of workshops, and then I developed a new workshop and then taught it. And so the work here is the result of a lot of my students' work as well as a few of mine.
And so what was the basis of your workshop?
I called it Textured Treasures, and it's a surface design workshop, and we paint fabric, we bead, we do rubbing and foiling and carve stamps, and we try to do it based on the environment where we are.
And that sounds like a lot of fun things to do.
It's a lot of playing and getting your hands messy, and everybody really enjoys it.
Yeah. So tell me about your piece here.
My piece here is a piece based from my visit to Orvieto in Italy, where I was teaching last year, and all the pieces of fabric are actually either rubbed or stamped or created in Orvieto, and I've stitched them all together, and the green framework here is actually a doorway, the wrought iron of a doorway.
Oh, yeah.
And I cut it out of freezer paper, and then I stitched around it, and then I overpainted it with metallic paint.
So is this an extra fabric over top, or that's paint over top? Oh, because I'm seeing a little bit of transparency through to the pieces
I
underneath.
used a transparent paint, and so that's why you can just see it coming through. But there's lots of little things, so where you look at it, you can see the bricks or you can see the rubbings of the mosaics, and it's just really fun to do.
It is.
Thank you.
That's so cool. Now, you said, what was this based on? Where was this?
Orvieto in Italy.
And what did you tell me about that?
I'm teaching there again in 2012. It's a beautiful place. It's a company called Adventures in Italy, and they allowed me to teach there. And we do all these things, but we also do a lot of eating and drinking and just have a fabulous time in Italy.
Quilt, eat, drink party in Italy with Lisa. I think that sounds like it'd be a lot of fun.
It is great fun.
Yeah.
So September next year.
September next year. Excellent.
Yes.
Now tell me about this piece over here.
This piece here, I have another workshop that I developed, and it's called Luscious Landscape. And the workshop involves getting a photo and creating a sort of collage of fabrics and textures and yarns, and then stitching it and trying to make it an image of your photo. And quite a few of the quilts in this exhibition are small versions from my workshops. Some students made a 50 or 60 inch quilt, and then a collection of students sent in their workshop pieces, which are around 25 inches.
Oh, that is terrific. What's your philosophy of life?
Enjoy it. It's too short.
Enjoy it?
Life is definitely too short.
Yeah. Excellent. Thanks so much for doing this with me.
That's okay.
We're going to take a minute, we're going to set up, and Lisa's going to give us a little demo of a beading technique that she does. I'll be right back. Okay, we found a lovely little place here in the convention center where Lisa is going to demonstrate one of her beading techniques. And Lisa, your beading is just gorgeous. Tell me about this piece.
This piece, actually, the centerpiece was a button that I bought on my first visit to Houston about 5 or 6 years ago. So it is very sentimental.
Oh, isn't that neat? And it's beautiful besides.
Thank you.
How long did it take you to do this?
Probably a month or so, but always in front of the television.
And that's the way we should bead and work.
Definitely.
I'm with you. Now, you have these beautiful buttons. Tell me about these. What are these?
Well, these are very simple little projects, and I actually do them up as a kit.
Simple?
Absolutely. They take about half an hour once you learn the stitches, and there's only about 4 stitches. And you just do it on some fabric with a normal covered button kit.
Yeah.
And you just draw in the circle, fill that circle in with beads, and then put a little gathering line and draw them, and then just pop the back on. And you can glue on a brooch backing, but I've actually found now that if I want to use it as a brooch, I just put a safety pin in the back of my clothes and run it through that. But you can use them as buttons, you can use them as bag clasps. They look beautiful.
Yeah.
So they're also a lovely centerpiece in a quilt. And
they would be, wouldn't they?
They're great. And I just have them as little kits on my website.
So do you teach these?
I do.
As well as lots of other?
Yes, absolutely.
Of course you do.
Yes. Beading is just one of the techniques that I teach.
What else do you do?
I do a lot of freeform piecing, very creative. I do a lot of work with my hand-dyed fabrics, and so a lot of my projects are with my fabrics, and then people love just to play with them and the colours and just cut them up. And I just have fun. I love texture and I love colour.
So you sell your hand-dyed fabrics on your website as well?
Absolutely.
Is most of your business in Australia, or do you sell all over?
I sell all over the world. I have customers in Europe and France and England, and I've even sold to Alaska, which is a long way away from Australia.
I'll say.
And Uzbekistan. I have a customer in Uzbekistan.
Uzbekistan. Okay. Okay, let's see how you go ahead and do some of this one of these beading techniques that you're going to show us.
Yes, this is an embellishing technique. It's just a little dangle. Some people call it fringing, but I just like to call it a dangle.
A dingle dangle.
So first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick up a sequin. It doesn't matter if it's pointing up or pointing down. It really doesn't matter.
I wondered about that.
Some people like one way, some like the other.
Yeah.
This is a stitch. It's a variation on a stitch called stop stitch. So I'm just putting on about 5 little beads. These are going to be the sort of the dangle. Okay, and then I've got a little star here. So I'm just popping the needle through the point, and it comes out between its little legs. And then I'm just going to add another bead on. Bonnie. And this bead here is called the stop bead because it's stopping it from going anywhere.
Oh, right.
So I'm now going to run my needle all the way through, even through the sequin.
Including the stopper?
No, because what would happen if I went through that one again?
It would just fall off, wouldn't it?
That's right.
Oh.
So into the back of the fabric.
Uh-huh.
And pull him gently. But I'm not going to pull him too tight because he tends to stand up a little bit. We don't like that. We want him to be a bit floppy. So if you want him to be floppy, you don't pull it.
How many people giggle when you tell them that?
Most people. Sometimes there's just a little snicker in a classroom, and then it turns into an uproarious laugh, and then everyone's relaxed.
I guess so.
But that way, we have a nice little dangle. You can either just do a back stitch on the back and just tie him off. You can do a lot. I quite often do a little quilting line and just do it from the same point on the quilting line.
Oh,
and so you get a nice flow of things, and it just adds a bit of movement to your quilts.
Yeah.
So that's one technique for creating a dangle.
And this is for a bead that has a hole going up and down?
Yes, up and down. So a lot of beads, that one there, actually you can't see that one, this one here, that one has a hole that goes up and down as well. And so you do that the same way. Mm-hmm. But some beads have holes that go sideways. This little leaf here, hard to hold, has a hole that goes across the top.
Oh, I see that.
So it would be difficult to do this technique. So I have another technique for that.
Okay.
And so again, we're just going to add on 3 beads.
No sequin this time?
No sequin. The sequin is a nice little base.
Yeah, it is.
And then I'm going to add on another 3 beads. This will make a lot of sense in a minute.
3 and 3 is 6.
3 and 3 and 6 is 6, yes.
Little math lesson while we're here.
Yep. And then I'm just going to go through the top of the bead. And then I'm going to add another 3 beads.
Okay.
You see how I've got 3 and then 3 and then another 3?
Oh.
I'm just going to go through the first 3.
I was wondering why you were doing an uneven number.
Mm.
Oh, so 3 on this side, 3 on that side, and then the 3 that'll be the dangle, so to speak. And going back down, and don't pull it too tight.
See, you've learnt. And can you see?
I love that. Oh, that's beautiful how that dangles off of there.
Yes.
Oh, and it makes a nice little loop. Oh, that's adorable.
It's lovely. So that's how you would handle beads that have a hole that go across.
Yeah. Thank you so much for showing us
You're
that.
very
That was
welcome.
Wonderful. And thank you so much for doing this with me.
My pleasure. Thank you.
It was so much fun.
Always.
Thank you all for coming, and I do hope you'll come back next month to see what I have for you then. Thanks for being with me.